So this is a 1,280 square foot cottage that we actually call the lake house. And it's built from 4 8x40 high cube shipping containers. They're used containers with the dings and the dents and some of the things that actually really give them character. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit. This has a bunch of offset containers. So the 4 containers aren't flush with one another. We've intentionally designed those to give the building some contour and some feel.
So these actually were put in place in November. It was a little bit of a blizzard when we were placing them on the foundation. We brought them on 4 trucks. We had a crane put them into place on the helical pile foundation in a matter of hours, which is actually quite cool. It really reduces that on-site construction time and the disruption for neighboring properties or businesses.
So in the open concept design, we've used 2 containers to create a really spacious living room, kitchen and dining area. And on the other half of the home, we have 2 containers that form the bedroom area. So when you come in the main entrance, it's an oversized entrance, it's very spacious. There's a coat closet on the one side, and then the other side actually has a feature container wall. So the goal of the kitchen was to create this really clean and modern feel. So it's this beautiful L-shaped kitchen with a custom blue cabinetry that we put on the lowers. We found this white marble countertop that had a bluish gray vein to it. And then we have white uppers to sort of offset the blues. We have a beautiful subway patterned tile on the wall. We've actually added in some open shelving. We have a rustic trim that really just sort of ties together the whole rustic modern feel. It has lots of cupboard space. It has a beautiful pantry. And the kitchen's well appointed with stainless steel appliances. We have a fridge, a stove, a dishwasher, microwave. And then we've also tied all of the features together in the kitchen with under cabinet lighting. So this is the dining room. So in this space, we have a table that seats 4, but the space is actually large enough that you could fit a rather large dining room table into it and probably get a table up to 10 people. One of the features of the dining room is actually the corrugated steel container wall. So one of the cool things about having a container wall is you don't need to use nails to hang pictures. You can actually just use a magnet, you can place it there, and you can move the art or whatever that you have on the wall wherever you want it to be. And we actually added in a row of art lighting. Right now we don't have any art up, but there's actually quite a span of wall space that you can really showcase a variety of different photos and pictures and art. We intentionally use high cube containers, and in this project we ended up with a ceiling finish height of about 8'6". So it's not quite a 9-foot ceiling, but it's more than what you'd find in a regular build. So the living room has an L-style couch, again with a container feature wall that sits behind it. But there's ample space for coffee table, end tables. The space is actually quite large. The living room also has a walkout to a very large deck at the rear of the property. And so the covered deck was really an important part of the design so that you still have the ability to enjoy the outside, still be able to dine outside, even if it's raining or if it's hot. It really does provide a lot of shelter and shade and really a peaceful place to really enjoy the views that the cottage offers. So we did a feature wall in the living room that's a shiplap wall. It has an electric fireplace, beautiful ambience, and fantastic for additional heat. So next to the feature wall, we actually have 2 benches, but the benches actually dual function as storage space. Each of the benches lift, and we've included in one side of it an area to put all of the electronics, your Wi-Fi, your router, anything that you need for cable, so it's stored away, and a lot of the unsightly things that normally sit in front of your television are tucked neatly away so you don't see it. So just off the side of the living room is what we call the lookout nook, which is actually one of my favorite parts of the home. We featured 3 large windows, beautiful area for sitting. It's an elevated space that we specifically designed by cantilevering the container at the rear of the property, and the views out of the windows are spectacular. So now we're on the other side of the home, and this part of the house has still 2 8x40 containers, features 3 bedrooms. So we have 2 smaller bedrooms here. One of them has bunk beds, one of them has a queen bed. And then we have a guest bathroom as well that's complete with a tub and a shower. And then you can really see the trim detail in the corridor here. So this is actually something that I saw in Iceland that we tried to capture and incorporate in this build. So it's rustic stained wood, but it just has what we kind of call a hat feature on top of the door that really gives character and a really custom feel and took away some of the starkness of the white. So you don't normally say this about a house, but one of my favorite features of this particular home, the lake house, is actually the hallway. And so again, we featured a corrugated half wall, still exposing the steel, the container still having that look. Again, with art, lighting to provide art in strategic areas of the home, right, to display everything. And so it really stands out here with what we call a pretzel finish of trim. So also in the hallway space is where we have our mechanical rooms, our hot water tank, our HRV. All of the functionality of the home is in a mechanical space. And then we also have a laundry room and a laundry area built inside the corridor as well. So in the master bedroom, we really tried to capture, once again, the view, the lighting. And so we have a beautiful feature window that sits over the bed, floor to ceiling windows that captures the view on the outside and access to the deck at the rear. And when those windows are open, the doors open, you get this beautiful cross breeze, natural ventilation. One of the features of the master bedroom also is the double closets. So there's ample space again for storage, for clothing. So the master bathroom features a subway tile, actually with a black grout that really ties in the features of the shower, the faucets, everything selected here for hardware was black, which really against the wood grain and the white really just has a pop to it that brings everything together here in the bathroom. So it features a built-in bench, it's got some built-in nooks inside of the shower, it has rainfall shower, wand, everything that you need inside of a beautiful luxurious shower. The master bathroom also has a floating vanity, and there's additional space underneath it. So we really tried to take time and really pay attention to all the features that people would use and the functionality and where you put things, where you don't put things, where you hang things or where you don't hang things. And so we really tried to incorporate in as much as we possibly could, not only to make it look beautiful, but to really have as a fully functioning area. One of the advantages of having a shipping container home is that they're actually quite airtight. It's a welded steel box. And so for ventilating these units, in all of our designs, we incorporate in HRVs so that the air is properly exchanging and the home's properly functioning and properly breathing. The home has 2 ductless split units for heating and cooling, which is also supplemented with baseboard heat. So on the exterior of the home, one of the things that we really also like doing is sort of layering different types of exterior cladding and siding. And so one of the popular looks with the container is always the mix of something dark with something light or something wood. And so we have a corrugated steel siding that we have that replicates the container look. We have a Maibec wood siding, and then we went with a white vinyl siding as well. And so this area, you see the transition of siding on different parts of the home, and with each one really complementing the other. When we buy all of our used containers, we buy our containers from brokers, right? So they get them from the shipping line. So a lot of the containers that come through are once used, or they're used to a place where they're not sort of deemed seaworthy anymore. So you can buy different grades of containers. As a modular builder, they create fantastic modules. They're built and they're designed to move. And so it really does allow us to install things very quickly on site, where speed really actually matters in the overall build of the project. So some of the concerns that people have with containers are things like condensation. So certainly it's steel, things can condensate. And so when we're insulating our walls, depending on what the design is, we insulate on the exterior of the building, but also the interior of the building. So the corrugated steel is actually sandwiched between 2 different layers of insulation that allow us to get the R value that's required, but it also does prevent the interior part of the container from actually sweating. So one of the concerns people have also is water coming into the home through the seams when we put the 2 containers together. When we put the containers together, we insulate on those openings. So anywhere that there's exposure to the outside, that's spray foamed, that's sealed, that has vapor barrier inside of it. So we seal up the container that way, but then we put an over roof on top of the entire building as well. So in this case, it's 4 containers. So we use what we call a Posi-Slope roof system, which dual functions as slope so that we get water management, but it also allows us to get the R value required that we need because we're using a foam insulation on top of the actual container. So the entire container is covered with one seamless roof so that you don't have water coming in between where the 2 containers meet.
So we do a variety of housing. So from 3-story apartment buildings to plunk pods, which are like a single off-grid module. We've done a few cottages now, and then we're looking at a larger story apartment building. Also right now, there's a real kind of need for just smaller housing or added on housing. So we're looking at some secondary suite options, as well as adding units, say in the rear of a large property. In terms of cost, a shipping container house is usually about on par with conventional construction. However, we always say that we're faster. So if you're pulling a construction mortgage, like that means you don't pay as much interest over time. Now, what we're seeing in the last couple of years with the shortage of material, because we're able to forecast out and keep our production flowing, we're actually seeing a bigger margin there where we're becoming a little bit less expensive than the custom home builds. So with this build in particular, the lake house, right from the moment you open the door, you're kind of welcomed home. It's just such a homey feel here. We're actually really sad to turn this one over to the client because we spent so much time and effort into every little detail that it's sad sometimes to kind of walk away from some of the projects and just not be able to be in this beautiful space.
Subscribe to Exploring Alternatives, and please share this video if you liked it. You can also find out more about Northern Shield by visiting their website. Thanks for watching.